Hello, everybody. Welcome to Joe the Lawyer. I am your host, a practicing attorney here in Pittsburgh, PA. And I've set up this little stream for anybody who wants to come on, ask me legal questions, get legal tips, and come to me for legal advice. Anything and everything that you want to ask, that you want to say. If you've ever wanted to chat with a lawyer live, for something that doesn't cost $275, $300, $350 an hour, now's your chance. You could talk to me about current legal issues of the day, legal issues that you've encountered, or legal questions that you've just wondered about. We can talk about the Supreme Court. We can talk about the state court. We can talk about magistrate courts. We can talk about anything and everything that comes to your mind. And I will even take phone calls if that's what you want. We can even talk about sovereign citizens, which I know is one of the favorite topics of my fan base. So come on into the chat, everybody. This is Joe the Lawyer, practicing Pittsburgh attorney, here to have fun, here to have a good time and talk about whatever happens to come to our minds. I have here Adam Henderly, a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show. Hello, Adam. How are you? I hope that you find yourself in a good mood this Sunday. You had a good day, enjoyed a nice weekend with the family. If there's anything you want to ask me, you want to talk about, you want to chat about, shoot it my way. We can talk about sovereign citizens. Actually, on the Common Sense Academy, I got a new sovereign citizen video that I'm going to release later tonight. It's pretty hilarious. I don't really think it's hit the YouTubes yet. But I'm sure it will, and maybe I'll be the one to start it. Hello, Brooke. Hello, Adam. Thanks for joining in. Hello, Steve. How you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you guys have any questions that you want to chat with me about, hey, all, go ahead and drop them in the chat. If somebody wants to do a call in, when I first did the Common Sense Academy, I used to get a lot of call-ins. I don't know, YouTube's changed. I'd had people jump in and call in and ask me legal questions. It was kind of fun. I haven't been using that channel as much. I'm trying to build up this one, so that's why I'm on this one. This is more straight legal content, just legal questions, things like that you want to chat with me about. I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to field any questions, comments that you guys want to talk about. You don't want me to call. That sounds like a challenge to me, Brooke. That sounds like a challenge to me. I think you don't want you to call, but if you want to call, you certainly can. Anyway, I got a new video. I'm going to put it on the Common Sense Academy. I guess I'll have to link it on this channel too, because I'm going to talk about it. In Spokane, Washington, about a gentleman who's claiming to be a sovereign citizen. And it's really weird. It's like this multi-layered kidnapping thing that occurred. And the one guy's, now that he's arrested, he's claiming sovereign citizenship. And on top of that, he sent legal threats to the court personnel. So now he's got a double whammy. So the hits just keep on coming. It just keeps getting better. Now, I also released a new video on this channel where a Miami-Dade police officer was fleeing from police, doing 110 miles per hour, probably for a couple of miles. And it was sort of interesting. It was entertaining to watch the body cam, to see this cop try to talk himself out of it. And, like I commented in the video, you can't do what you used to do. I've literally had clients come to me and they'd say to me, Joe, how much money do I have to give you to make this go away? Or they'll say, who do I have to pay to make this go away? I'm like, dude, This is 2022. This isn't 1975. It's not even 1985. Okay, getting away with that stuff is way, way harder. And this video that I just did shows that even for the police, like that's one of the great things about body cam, dash cam, and the accountability created by video is that if the police can't bury things as easily as they could in the past. So, watching this guy sort of try to wiggle out of this, it was just rolling my eyes. But the police, they all did the right thing. And I thought it was good to see them, book this guy, charge him with the appropriate charges, and put him through the regular system. There's been judges in Allegheny County, Western PA, who got DUIs. They weren't able to get out of it. They got DUIs and they were sitting up there, handed out DUI sentences while they were on house arrest. And Brooke, sorry to hear that you're in a mood. It's a Sunday, so I hope that you would be a little more relaxed. I get it. It's almost Monday, but it's still a good day. Just home from Philadelphia. You got a ticket. Okay, well, what is the nature of the ticket? Was it a speeding ticket? Was it a registration ticket? Did you not get your inspection done? Did you not? Or is it all BS? Or it's one of those tickets. I have a feeling that it's a compliance ticket. I just don't think you're the law breaking type, Brooke. I don't think you're that type. I think it's a compliance ticket where you forget to do your registration, you forget to get your inspection, or you're just a couple days past on these things. Oh, I was completely wrong. You hit a car. Well, all right. That's a ticket that you probably have to eat. But you know what? Actually, that's not even 100% true. Okay. Because did you get it in Pennsylvania? Because you should plead not guilty on that ticket. You should go to the hearing. And there you go. And if everything works out, then they should drop it. Like if your insurance covers the damage and the person doesn't have like unpaid medical bills or any major injury, they should plead it down. I have a new attorney who's working for me, and I was trying to explain to him how to handle traffic from our perspective, because I get a lot of people come to me with suspended license, all types of traffic violations, speeding tickets, etc. And I tell them what the police are looking for is compliance. The police are looking for compliance. And so what you want to do is you want to get your registration squared away. You want to get your inspection squared away. You want to get your emissions squared away. Get your license squared away, and you come back and they'll cut you a break. It's all about compliance. They just want people to be on the road and to be on the road legally. And sometimes they want a little bit of accountability, and sometimes that accountability is financial in nature. So let me ask you, Brooke, did you have to pay a fine? Were you forced to pay a fine on the ticket that you got? I mean, since you caused a little bit of damage, did the officer still want a fine? Oh, long day today. It is Sunday, but I'm tired. The girl was 19. She was out driving. Her mom made her call 911. Oh yeah, when you get young kids involved, you don't know what you're in for. How about this? $125. There you go. Is that total, or does that include court costs? So let me talk about a case that I had. I had this case where I represented an elderly woman, probably in like her 70s or 80s. 125 total. All right, that's not that bad, but it still stinks. I had a case where I represented an elderly woman who was driving on a fairly busy parkway type road in around the Pittsburgh area, and she was hit by another vehicle. Now, the woman who hit her, and I represented like an older woman, and it was a younger woman who hit her. The younger woman, probably like late 20s, hit this older woman. And when she got out of the car, she gave her all of her identifying information, right, to the victim. And they didn't bring the police on scene. But of course, my client was actually had a fairly serious injury. So we had to follow up with a personal injury case. So we I get the case and I start looking into the case, and it turns out, by really digging in, that there was a case. It was a case of mistaken identity. And here's the crazy thing: the insurance company, the insurance adjuster, also had the mistaken identity. So when this girl gave the information to the victim that she hit, she gave her mother's information. I think she did it on purpose, but I don't really know. But she pretended to be her mother. Now, it was her mother's car, but it was not her driving. So when we sued the mother, and the insurance company was going to pay a settlement on the mother. So we filed the lawsuit. Now it's starting to come back to me. We filed the lawsuit, and the defense attorney called me on the phone and said, "Joe, you sued the wrong person." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he goes, "You sued this woman. It was her daughter who was driving, and they were going to claim we were past the statute of limitations." Aha. But here's the thing. We were only past the statute of limitations because of the deception of the daughter. So we ended up fighting really hard on that case. I took a deposition from this girl who had lied, said she was her mother. I'm not 100% sure if she did it on purpose, but it sure seemed that she did. Hang on a second. There's a spider I have to. Oh, man. Crap. He jumped. Okay. One of the great things about having a little YouTube studio is that it's set up in your basement, where they build spider webs all over my stuff at pretty much all times. So I'm constantly killing spiders. Yeah, she probably should get a fraud charge. I was just glad that we settled the case. They wrote me for unsafe lane. It was like $1,000 fine and 3 points. Was just trying to exchange info because it was seriously paint that needed to be. It was just paint that needed to be buffed out. Yeah, I mean, some of these traffic things get ridiculous, and you get people that are scared. I mean, something like that, I would hope that you wouldn't have to necessarily get insurance involved. The reason the police in an auto accident where nobody's hurt, the reason the police get involved is because sometimes if they don't write tickets, then insurance will not accept the responsibility. So they're doing their job. They're trying to be responsible. They just want to make sure insurance gets involved. Some of this minor stuff, it's just like, come on. She fled too? Wow. Well, now it gets ridiculous, Brooke. Now it gets ridiculous. Now I got to say the police maybe, who knows if the mother, somebody must have really got on their case for them to follow up on this, because otherwise, why would they? Everybody raise your cup, your glass in the air. Cheers with me. It tastes better when we sip together. Same time sip. Cheers. You follow? So did you run her down, Brooke? Where did you end up? Pulling over or like confronting her at? I'm curious. Her mom was screaming at her. I felt bad. Well, you should feel a little good. It sounds like she needed to be yelled at. Look. This was a minor incident, but the bigger lesson here is don't flee. You know what I mean? It's like what she did was fairly minor, but to drive away, it's a crime. And I can't remember, Brooke, do you live in PA? It is a crime in PA to leave the scene of an accident, even if it's a small accident. And there's different grading of that offense. So, they could charge somebody with something serious, or they could charge somebody with or something minor, but you can't just flee the scene of an accident. Cannot do that. But yeah, you get all kinds of weird situations with accidents where people don't exchange information, or they do, or they call the police and then leave before the police show up. I have a case right now where an individual was hit by a drunk driver, and that's a pretty good case. And they're investigating. I'm pretty sure that she got a first time DUI charge. I was watching Artie while they wrote. I love it. I love it. I gotta check out Artie's channel, man. Um, I have just been off the radar in the whole sovereign citizen auditor world, and I hope that he's doing well. I'm looking over here at his channel. Yeah, he's still putting out content, some sovereign stuff, some other. He does a lot of different stuff. But Artie's still streaming regularly. Very good to see that. She drove 3 blocks into a sketchy, poorly lit hotel parking lot. Don't you just love that? Don't you just love that? I here's what I have a comment on that, because I get people who are sometimes charged, like the video that I just did on this channel, where this officer, drove away, and then the officer was trying to explain himself by saying, "Oh, I only drove like a mile or two." I've had people charged with fleeing and eluding when really, honest to goodness, all they were trying to do was find the next good place to park, other than the side of the road. And then I've had officers say things to me like, "Oh, well, you pulled into the sketchy hotel parking lot." And the person's like, "Well, it's better than the shoulder of the road. The shoulder of the road is dangerous, right? Like, that's where you don't want to be." But some officers get pissed, like they want you to pull over. Honestly, if I'm driving, I'm getting pulled over, I pull over pretty quickly. Hey, Taze, good to see you, man. I know it's been a long time. I've just been so dang busy with my law practice is busy as hell. I mean, I hired an attorney last fall. I may be bringing on another lawyer here soon. I got a couple attorneys do contract work for me, so it sucks the energy out of me, and it's tough for me to go live, or sometimes even to make videos. I'm trying to get that balance back, because I really enjoy making videos. I mean, I don't really make that much money off it. I make a little bit of money, but I love interacting and building a bit of an audience and getting to chat with everybody. This is fun. Then says, "I didn't need this. I just totaled my last car. There's a well-lit Dunkin' Donut right before the hotel." And there's another reason to go into Dunkin', Brooke, because if you're going to be on the side of the road for a long time dealing with police and exchanging insurance information, you want a coffee and a donut. I mean, I would say, what I would do if I hit somebody and we pulled over in Dunkin', I would say, "Can I buy you a coffee and a donut?" You know what I mean? Can I buy you coffee and a donut? Because at least you're setting the stage if you end up in court. Everybody's not going to hate each other. But Taze, thanks for jumping in. If you want to add to the conversation, anybody got any questions? We can talk about sovereign citizens. I think the movement's been growing. The sovereign citizen movement has been growing. This is not my sovereign citizen channel. I'm happy to talk about it, though. It's really, really getting big. It's seriously right across the street from my house. Brooke, you live across the street from a Dunkin' Donuts. I am extremely jealous. I'm extremely jealous. Let me tell you about the Dunkin' Donuts near my house. This all started during the COVID lockdown. I moved into the current house that I live in 2016, and I been going to Dunkin' Donuts for 3 years. Okay, and before COVID, it was busy. It was busy, but since the lockdown, it's been insane, insane. And this Dunkin' Donut is on a busy road, and there will be like 10 to 12 cars that back through the lot and then protruding into this road. Okay, waiting. So they're blocking traffic, waiting to get into the driveway to go through the dang drive-through at Dunkin' Donuts. It's insane. There's been accidents there. And here's the funniest thing is somebody, now they were coming from the opposite direction. An older gentleman who was sleeping rammed into the Dunkin' Donuts and put a hole in it. So they were closed down for a couple of days, and I was ticked off. I was ticked off by that. Cheers, everybody. Little Diet Coke before bed. Okay, then my next question is, Brooke, how often do you go to that Dunkin'? And do they know your name? Because what I would do if I live that close is I would probably order in advance every day. Or I would tell those people, I'd be like, listen, I need my coffee at 8:30 a.m. every single day at this time. Just make it for me. Just make it, just have it ready for me. I don't need a donut every day. I do occasionally get a donut, but I drink coffee every single day, a couple cups every day. I drink coffee, Diet Coke, and a little bit of water. You guys know that. Cheers. It is expensive, but that's why you get an app, and you probably save like, you get a free drink after you bought 10 coffees. No, I get you. It does get expensive. But this Dunkin', okay, these people are protruding into the roadway, and then somebody rammed into this whole Dunkin's like a hazard. Now, what I would want to do is, oh, you work there. Yeah, I can get that. I get that. Yeah, I understand that. Here's what we need to do. This is our business idea that I don't have time for, but you find a Dunkin' Donuts and you put a small little coffee shack, those little drive-through mom and pop coffee shops. You put those next to a Dunkin' and you get their overflow. And I am telling you, you will make I'm sure that you will make a lot of money. And it's like catching the wave. It's like, shining in the light of Amazon. You know what I mean? Like you're riding the coattails of Dunkin' Donuts, because this Dunkin', when the line is like that, I buy coffee there probably 3 or 4 times a week. Okay. And when the line is insane, like I was describing, I drive by, and if there was another little coffee shop right there, boom, I would be there like that. I would be there instantly. So you're not going to, if Dunkin' does, I literally have no idea. I'm pulling this out of thin air. If Dunkin' does 1,000 sales a day, okay, you can probably steal 200 of them. You know what I mean? You could probably get 200, because there's at least 200, maybe 150 of those people that are driving by Dunkin' and they're like, I'm not dealing with that line. No way. Yes, Brooke. Yes. Put your kid out there. Listen, get your kid out there. How old's your kid? Can they handle a hot coffee pot? Actually, maybe do a Keurig. Just line up Keurigs and already have them plugged in. Keurig makes coffee really fast. Say, what do you want? Boom. You'd be just as fast as Dunkin'. Question: the 10th Amendment is used by states for police powers, but what about the part of the 10th Amendment that says, or to the people? What is the significance of or? Archangel, here's what I remember about the 10th Amendment and Supreme Court jurisprudence, constitutional jurisprudence, is that the 10th Amendment, a lot of people have tried to use it to subvert the powers of the federal government. But because of the supremacy clause and prior Supreme Court decisions, the 10th Amendment, basically, this is what my understanding, this is what it stands for. And I have not read the 10th Amendment in a long time. But I could look it up right here. This is what it stands for. It says powers that are not specifically given to the federal government are left to the states. And that's it. So the significance of or, I can't tell you. Or to the people, that's a good question. Okay, that's a good question. And what I would say is that or to the people means that there's an element of democracy that is capable in certain decisions, and then there's certain states that allow referendums on specific issues. Okay, and it might be referring to something along those lines. That is what I say the significance of or to the people stands for. So a lot of people have tried to use the 10th Amendment to subvert federal powers. It's not going to happen just based on prior Supreme Court jurisprudence, the nature of the Constitution, and stare decisis. And if you want to know what stare decisis is, I did a whole video on it, and I even put graphics up. And Mr. Salido, thank you for joining me and thank you for bringing the laughter. We need the laughter here on this live stream. All right, we need the laughter. You did not. Yeah, I did a same time sip, but I can do another one now that we're getting some people in here. Took her to Philly Friday to see the Dave Matthews Band. Very cool. Very cool. You know who was in Pittsburgh this weekend was Jimmy Buffett. I've never been to a Jimmy Buffett concert. I have to imagine though that it's one of the best concerts to go to. I mean, I don't smoke, the green ganja. I don't do that anymore. I did back in the day. But I imagine a lot of that goes on. And I bet Jimmy Buffett is a great concert, and it's probably all boomers. I mean, we're talking 60-year-old, 70-year, probably massive amount of boomers. Just, get token up a little bit and drinking and having fun. And I really don't know any of Jimmy Buffett's music, but it all sounds the same to me. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying every Jimmy Buffett song sounds exactly the same. But he has a song called Cheeseburger in Paradise. So he's pretty cool in my book. Please do look it up. Wrong answer, Archangel. That's the right answer, dude. I don't give wrong answers. I'm not capable of it. Okay. Especially when it comes to the law. I've never seen, yeah, and I'm talking about some of the sovereignty of so some sovereign powers that the people have, are things like referendums, the right to vote, things that are preserved in the Bill of Rights. But or to the people may also just be referencing the people's ability to self-govern themselves in the form of a state, or in the form of a local government, etc. And therefore, those powers that are generally left to smaller and local governments can be used by the people as long as it is not in contradiction and it does not contravene federal law or the United States Constitution. So how does a hostile takeover work in a company? Dude, that is a good question, but I honestly do not know. I did take 1 year of corporations. I did. But, I'm far enough away from law school now that a lot of it just doesn't hit anymore. So how the corporate, I don't know. What I do know is that he's being sued is actually something I should do a video on, and I would research it a little bit. But he's being sued. Elon Musk is now being sued, and they're trying to force him to make the sale, right? Because this is my understanding is they put a contract in place just like a real estate contract. And Musk is basically saying that he's walking away from the contracted deal because Twitter didn't meet some of their obligations under it. Well, now Twitter's suing him, saying they did meet their obligations. The interesting thing that I'm finding is most judges are not going to force people to make deals, right? Like to force an affirmative action like that. But my understanding is this judge that Elon Musk got is one who has done that in the past. So this could be really interesting. I mean, especially when we're talking about a $47 billion company called Twitter. Honestly, Twitter is useless to me. I think Twitter is good for like journalists. It's good for like sports news. And there's a small number of like influencers who have really built it up on Twitter. Like news, Twitter is news. But like for me, for example, like I have a law firm and a YouTube channel. Like if I post my videos on Twitter, I get zero action. Like if I put a post on Twitter, I get zero action. I put something on YouTube or Facebook, I get all kinds of action. Even Instagram, I get likes. Like people in my circle, but people in my circle don't like acknowledge on Twitter. Twitter is for national-based individuals only. I think it's the worst social media. It's not even entertaining. Read that. You guys want me to read the 10th? Advice for people who want to go to law school after working an abysmal post-pandemic economy. Well, that's a good question, Shadow. I'm happy to answer that because I went into law school. I entered law school in 2009. And, the financial crisis was in 2007. The country was in recession 2007, 2008 into 2009. I think it came out of the recession 2010. I graduated law school 2012. So I graduated law school when the economy was still in pretty bad shape from the 07 financial crisis. It was on the upswing. I'll give you a saying amongst people in the legal community, in the legal industry. That saying is that lawyers, law firms, when a recession comes, it hits them late. It hits the legal industry late. So let's say recession hits first quarter of 2023, second quarter of 2023. It won't hit the legal industry until later in the year or the year after. But the same principle applies in a recovery. Is the legal industry recovers slow. So let me give you another example. I entered the legal workforce in 2013, and prior to 2007, there would be on-campus interviews at law schools, and I'm talking dozens of firms. My sister graduated law school in the 1990s and had multiple on-campus interviews, not just for the very top of the class. Okay, almost anybody could get in on-campus interviews during law school. When I graduated law school, there were two firms, the two biggest firms in Pittsburgh, basically international law firms. K&L Gates is international. Reed Smith is national, maybe international. They were the only firms doing on-campus interviews. So it went from pre-2007, 50% of law students would get on-campus interviews and a large portion of them would get jobs, to two law firms doing on-campus interviews at my law school, and they hired two or three people. So I entered the legal workforce at a time that was very difficult. So what I did is I had offers for government jobs because I applied for public defender. I applied to be district attorney. Now I didn't get offers in the county that I live in, but I actually received offers from surrounding counties. But I was interning at a small civil law firm, and I said, "What the heck?" I liked the guys who were there, and because I had already been interested in the criminal law. And they offered me, I started interning for them. And then I called them, I said, "Will you hire me?" And they said, yes. And I worked for them for 1 year. And then getting that experience helped me get my next job. I did that for about 1.5 years. Then I went out on my own. But to get back to the meat of your question, here's what I would say. Number one is I don't know what area of law you want to go into, but you can, I would say this, like, number one, there's government jobs. Now, government jobs are not always ideal, especially when you're coming out of law school and you have a large amount of debt. However, there are all types of debt programs that can protect you. Do a government job for a couple of years, get that experience, get the steady paycheck, and then use that experience to get into a firm of your choosing or a firm that works in a field that you like. Because one thing about government jobs is they'll throw you into the fire right away. Go be a public defender for 2 or 3 years. Go be a district attorney for 2 or 3 years. And heck, if you don't want to do criminal law, now that will get you right into trial. That'll get you into trial right away. But there's all kinds of government jobs, right? You can work for a solicitor's office at a local government or a local big city. So go into get a government position and then leverage that to get another job. The next thing I'd say is do what I did. Start interning for a firm. Start interning for a firm. Get them to like you. Work your butt off, and then they will make hiring you a priority. Some of the people who had jobs in the tough economy when I graduated were the ones who had interned for the same firm for 3 years in a row during law school. And then when they graduated law school, the firm could use them because they had the experience. They knew how the office operated, and all the lawyers there liked them. So number one, get a government job, get some experience. Number two, intern somewhere. Number three is don't be afraid to work for less money just to get the experience. And don't be afraid, if you're still in law school, to intern for free. I interned for free. I interned for free at I had a judicial clerkship. I did for free. I worked at the public defender for free. I worked at the Office of Conflict Counsel for free. I had one paid legal job when I was in law school. So that's my advice. Don't be afraid to work for free. Don't be afraid to work for less money in order to get that experience. And even if you do that for a couple of years, you're going to put yourself ahead of everybody who's coming behind you. One thing I will say is do your best to avoid gaps and stay in the legal market. So the economy stunk, and I had some people who got out of the legal market and then tried to get back in. It was a lot tougher. I also knew some people who did document review. They did document review and they got trapped in that. Document review pays some money, but boy, it will get you trapped. All right, let's go back here. So that's my advice. Joe, on Artie's corporate fiction, you agreed to debate me. I've emailed you several times, but over 2 years later, you've not been willing to debate me. Email me again, dude. I looked at for one of your emails like fairly recently, and I didn't see it. So go ahead and my email is in every description. So shoot me an email. I'll debate you on the Common Sense Academy channel. I just left employment at a criminal defense firm who lied to me about being an unpaid internship after a week of working there. Well, that's unfortunate, and I've heard about stuff like that. So make sure that you ask the necessary questions. And also, if you're getting an offer, ask the attorneys to put it in writing so that you know exactly what you're going to get into. Civil service, that's tremendous, Brooke, and good luck to you. I mean, retire at 58, like you can't beat it. I often, if I'd stayed I'm not 28, add 10 years. But if I had stayed in the military, I'd be retiring. I would have retired this month if I had stayed in the military. I could have retired at 39 years old because I went in when I was July 2nd, 2002. And I would have my 20 years just this year. ABA requires law students to not work no more than 20 hours a week. I don't know about that, Shadow, but remember. Look, Archangel, send me the email and we'll get it set up. All right. Maybe we won't do it live, but maybe we'll just record it because I'll try to unblock you, but I don't even know how to do that, to be honest. Raise your cup, your glass in the air. Cheers with me. It tastes better when we sip together. Cheers. How long is the recession and hyperinflation going to last? If you watch Milton Friedman, basically what he says is inflation is caused by pretty much one thing and one thing only, and that is the government spending money. So why do we have inflation right now? Well, because our government spent billions and billions of dollars, and not just our government, governments all around the world spent billions of dollars during the COVID-19 lockdown. So 2020, 2021, the government was printing money and pouring it into the economy. Therefore, it created the inflation that we're seeing now. Now, the only way to contain inflation is to raise interest rates and to cut back on government spending. If our government does that, it should only take a couple of years to recover from inflation. And this was Joe putting his economist hat on. So that's what I have to say here. Let's see here real quick. Let's see what the 10th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. The 10th Amendment is a favorite of the sovereigns. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Bottom line is, the thing with sovereigns especially is don't read into it so much. You know what I mean? You can do linguistic gymnastics all day. Also, nor prohibited by the states, prohibited by it to the state. So basically, federal law trumps all, period. That's not the one. Show me the correct 10th Amendment. Excuse me. Show me the sovereign citizen 10th Amendment. Okay, any other legal questions, legal topics that we want to talk about? Something different. I got to unblock the Archangel for Truth from the Common Sense channel. I will look into doing that. I answered the question about hyperinflation, though Mr. Salito may no longer be in the chat room, but he can go back and see what I have to say. The other thing too is when you're in a tough economy is, again, just take any legal job that you can. That's another way to do it. Take any legal job that you can and run with it and just get that experience. Experience is everything in the law, man. I mean, look, that's true about almost any field, but especially in a field like this, like the law, like where you have to have an advanced degree. Getting experience is clutch. Experience is everything. It's in the Bill of Rights. Show me what you're talking about, Brooke. Drop me a link. Unless you're just jagging me with the sovereign. You're just doing a little sovereign stuff for me, which I can appreciate. But the sovereign stuff, it's truly gone to a whole new level. Like I had no idea when before the pandemic hit. I got into sovereign citizens, and the pandemic and just vaulted sovereign citizenship to a whole new level. And so we're not even talking about the people who identify. It's made its way into like just so many people who don't even know what it is. That's the correct 10th. However, your interpretation is not supported by the text. I bet it is, man. I bet it is. Where to get a good maritime lawyer? Well, Archangel may be willing to help you out with the maritime law. Why they act like January 6th was storming the beaches of Normandy? Well, man, the media. I don't want to get into that one, but thanks for asking. So, I used to be a mod, LL. This is a different channel, Mass. This is Joe the lawyer, and I don't have a big enough crowd yet to require moderators. But if it comes, I will let you know. It's the one they're talking about regarding Roe. There's only one 10th Amendment. There is only one 10th Amendment. So bring me back, people. Bring me back. When Joe, I'm gonna, you know what? From now on, I'm gonna sign off with a salute. Aye, aye, Captain. How's that? How's that? Aye, aye, Captain. A sailor's salute. You ever seen those countries? Some of these, like the United States has like this is the salute for like our military, and like the British too, and a couple other ones. But like these other militaries have like these crazy, like there's, I don't know who it is. They salute like this, and you get like stuff like this, or you get like this. There's like all kinds of like weird salutes out there. It's kind of hilarious. But yes, when I sign off, I will be throwing anchor and abandoning ship. The enumeration shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Well, yeah, I mean, look, yeah, that's true. But listen, you know, the Constitution, again, you know, it's funny sometimes because I had to read, I read this whole freaking book. Okay. Is, you know, Supreme Court justices will use 15,000 words to make a point that simply only takes a couple of seconds. Okay. A couple of seconds. And so you can sum the Constitution up, you know, well, not in a couple of words, but look, here's the Constitution is the rules of the game and the ultimate law of the land, but they're rules. It's a rule book is what you're talking about, okay? And what it does is it lays out the rules for more or less the interaction between the federal government, the state, and the people. And really what the Constitution is doing is restraining the power of the government in certain ways. So the Constitution exists to restrain the power of the federal government, to stop it from being like a wild despot, right? Because if you don't have the rules written down and you have a ruler, a king, a monarch, a dictator, they can just do whatever they want and then constantly change the rules. So the Constitution is the rule book that nobody can break. So you have the Constitution, and any of the rules in the Constitution are greater than any of the rules in a state constitution or a lower body. That's the supremacy clause. And then you have the federal government. And because the Constitution is the book that created the federal government, then you have the federal government, anything they do is supreme over the state laws. So any federal law is supreme over a state law. Okay. Now, the Constitution has decided to one degree or another that that there are certain areas where the federal government shouldn't go. Okay. And that's because of the way the Constitution is written. Again, it constrains the power of the federal government. But anytime a state law contravenes a federal law, the federal law wins. Anytime a local or city law or county law contravenes a state law, the state law wins. Okay. It's a ranking system. So really, because of the way the Constitution is structured, the 10th Amendment makes sense, but it almost doesn't even need to be said. It doesn't even need to be said. Okay. If the federal government hasn't done it or hasn't legislated in that area, then the state government can do it. You don't even need the 10th Amendment, in my opinion. So states can write little laws that they want to do. And there's certain areas traditionally that have been left to the state governments, such as the criminal laws, which is, you know, why abortion is clashing maybe in a big way, because there's really no federal laws. The federal government never stepped into that area. The federal government never stepped into the abortion area. So it's up to the states. Now, the federal government could pass a single abortion law, and all the states would have to abide by it. But they haven't. So because the federal government didn't focus its attention there, pass laws there, It's up to the states and the local governments to do it. But if the federal government stepped in and passed a law regulating abortion, boom, flattens it out, flattens it all out. And what you have too is the Commerce Clause. That'll be the most interesting thing that in my opinion, that this court may do is the Commerce Clause gives the federal government broad power to regulate in any area that touches interstate commerce. And they could probably regulate on abortion based on interstate commerce. That's actually how they justify the criminal laws that exist in the federal government in federal laws is the Commerce Clause. So there's all these clauses that give the federal government, again, it comes back to the Constitution. Okay. But you don't even need the 10th Amendment. That's what I'm saying. I don't even know if you need the 10th Amendment because anything that the federal government doesn't do, of course, it's open to the states and the local governments to legislate. That's it. And the rules in the Constitution actually aren't even that detailed. They're pretty vague. I mean, you have the Bill of Rights and the structure of the government really gives broad ability for the federal government and the states to do what it is that they may not want to do. The feds don't care that much about marijuana. Well, that's true. But when California first decriminalized it and set up medical marijuana, the feds were busting those places. These were people who were complying with state law, and the federal government was coming in and sending those people to jail. Okay, because the federal law superseded the state law. How can states legalize marijuana? They can legalize. So marijuana is legal under state law. It is still illegal under federal law. But what's happened is the FBI and the federal prosecutors are no longer enforcing that law. So if it's legal under every other law and it's illegal under federal law, but the feds aren't enforcing it, then it might as well be completely legal. But the feds could at almost any time run up into any of these states and start arresting people and shutting down those businesses. They have almost absolute power to do so as long as marijuana is a controlled substance and illegal under federal code. Archangel, I'm sorry, man. You're just going off on your own interpretation of the Constitution. And I could sit here and interpret it, in 100 different ways. And that's what these battles are about, right? Like, because some people interpret, somebody like you got Roe v. Wade because a couple of justices interpreted the due process clauses of the Constitution one way, and another justice interpreted it different. So whatever your interpretation is, or what other sovereign citizens interpret as, is fine. I could sit here and say a blue is not blue, it's black. What matters is what the Supreme Court says, and I know what the Supreme Court has said. So the people don't have the right to just sit there and, make up their own laws as their own little sovereigns. That's what a sovereign citizen is. But that's what goes on with marijuana. It's what goes on with a lot of laws. There were all kinds of ridiculous laws that have existed for a really long time that still do. They're just not enforced. Even marijuana is still illegal under a lot of state codes. The states just don't necessarily enforce them. So you can have a law, but the law has to be enforced for it to matter, right? And that's at the behest of a prosecutor. And that's called prosecutorial discretion. So, some of these people completely misinterpret the Constitution or selective quoting or take it out of context. Yeah, what sovereign citizens do is they cherry pick statements in case law, and then they put these statements together in order to create a dialogue that appears to make sense. And there's enough case law out there in the Supreme Court and other courts that you could probably you could probably construct enough dicta from these case law to say that it's illegal to own a donkey and sit on them and ride them backwards on Sundays after 4 p.m. You know what I mean? It's just ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It really is. Um, but my favorite sovereigns are the ones who say that the Soviet Union never fell. I mean, when I found that one, that just made my day. I mean, it made my week. Sovereign citizens stating that the Soviet Union never fell. Too good. Pure disobedience law would change so much if there are that many people disobeying a law. Yeah, listen, absolutely, Mass, absolutely. And look, this country was founded on disobedience to unjust laws. But who determines what an unjust law is? Like, when are you going to decide that to take that disobedience and then take it to another level? I mean, to me, you need some extraordinary justification to do that. Okay, that's my opinion. Or you're living in a society that is completely torn apart. I certainly don't think we're there in America. We're very divided, but for the most part, we live in a pretty good country. And I really blame the media and social media for the regular media and social media for dividing America as much as it is. Because even to this day, if you poll Americans on a lot of issues, there's not as much space as you would think. You just have these 5 to 10 culture war issues, and those are the ones that all the focus goes on, and that helps create this division. Well, yeah, there are legal scholars who support your view on the 10th, but your interpretation of the 10th, per the holdings of the United States Supreme Court, which are law, are incorrect. And I've never picked a cherry in my life either, though I have eaten quite a few. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in to Joe the Lawyer. I want to pump this channel up, so I appreciate you guys coming in. Go ahead, hit me with a check out my other videos. I do have a sovereign citizen video coming to be something different. I don't mind talking, but it's not going to go that way. So the real move for me is to block you on this one and to allow you on the other one. But I'll do a debate with you, man. Shoot me an email, newsletter@pomettolaw.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Taze, it was great to see you. Great to see you, Brooke. Great to hear from everybody. Yeah, I know, but he's a troll. But other people in my crew, in the community, he comes. He already a good friend of mine said he was solid, and I got to have some sovereign citizen debates on the other channel to build my credibility. Love you too, brother. Everybody on here, love you guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to end the stream. I'll be back. I'm going to try to do this one at least once a week, but I got some new content on the Common Sense Academy coming out too. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah, he is respectful. There's other trolls that are really crazy trolls. Really, really nutso ones. All right, everybody, have a great night. Peace out.